Happy Monday. I know it may not seem like such a happy day. Last couple weeks, the market has been shaking a lot of people out, and I hope to be the voice of reason in today's video. I'll make this really, really quick, but I'd love to extend this conversation just beyond me talking. In the comments, let me know, how are you feeling about the markets? What are you doing? What actions are you taking? Are you buying, selling? Are you entering more positions? Have you been taking profit? Have you not? Are you learning lessons from this tiny pullback? Now, this is all a matter of perspective. If we have a look at this chart here, Bitcoin, oh my God, Bitcoin is crashing. If this is what we were shown, which is what most, if you go on any centralized exchange or any kind of app on your phone to do with crypto, they're going to be showing you the last week, maybe the last 24 hours. Deep red, minus, 16%. The world is over. Crypto is over. Bitcoin is over. And of course, we're just talking Bitcoin here, but everything else is bleeding as well. Pretty much everything is in the red, except for a couple outliers, which there always are. Is it over? Now, if this is your first rodeo, if this is your first cycle, I can understand why we might be feeling a little bit panicked. Remember, when there's blood on the streets, when everyone is excited, what do? When everyone is fearful, when all the hateful comments are coming out, I've been seeing that a little bit more, and that's when I know, on Twitter and on YouTube, when everyone's like, I told you crypto was going to go die, blah, blah, blah. That's when I know, like, hey, we're starting to kind of hit the bottom. And when I see everything's going to the moon, I'm 100% in, I'm remortgaging my house. That's when we're going to know, hey, there's a top coming, when everyone and their mom is talking about crypto, which we haven't hit that yet. So am I worried? No. If we live our lives with this outlook on the markets, a weekly outlook, yeah, this will shake you out. You're done. And if we zoom out just a little bit, let's just say we look in the last month, okay, that's not that bad. We're not up, we're not down. We're just kind of, the market's done what it's done. And if we zoom out even further, we're kind of like, things are just going sideways. And if we zoom out even further, okay, this paints a very different picture. This is almost healthy. We can't always be going up forever. And if we zoom out even further, it doesn't even get fair. We start looking at, just this year, I think we're up anywhere between, depending when you got in during this kind of sideways action. I know some people got in at 16. Of course, not all my holdings are at 16, but I remember buying some. If you got in at 16 or 17,000, well, you're up, 250% to 300%, somewhere in that range. And even if you got up at 40,000 and you were buying some Bitcoin at 40,000, again, I'm using Bitcoin, but you can really just lay over any other asset, any coin, any token. And this is probably somewhat of the story. Our alts have done a lot better than this, but all things considered, maybe you're up 30%, 40%, 50%. That's 4 or 5 years in the traditional markets. Now, what do I think is going to happen next? Anything can happen. I can't predict that. What we are seeing is some support here somewhere in the 60, and this is my buy zone. I take profits during the green cycles. I'm not going to call it a full bull cycle because macro, we're still in the bull cycle. But when I'm in profit, I take when I'm in the green, and I take profit. I'm just disciplined enough to take profit. And then my strategy, I lend it out. I know it's only at 6, 7, 8, 10, 15%, depending what the market is doing, depending what lenders and buyers are doing. And then when the markets have massive pullbacks, I'm able to get back in. And anything could happen here. We could hit 60, 59. We could hang out here. We could see a little, you've seen what happened here. And we actually see this oftentimes, but it's like this little wick that just shakes the rest, everyone else out. Everyone who thought they were tough, it shakes them out. And then we see this big rebound. Now, could we hang out in here and then drop down to 51? We could. Could we drop down to 42? We could. Could we drop back down to 30? There's a possibility. I think it's highly unlikely, but there's always a possibility. We can't predict. We could look at these charts all day long and try to be, okay, what is Bitcoin going to do next? And we could get some ideas so we could plan out our next moves. And so in a perfect world, we'll hit 60, we'll hang out here, a dollar cost average back in, and then we'll bounce right back up. We'll hit 70, 71, 75s. A bunch of shorts will be liquidated. We'll move it to 80, 90, 100. Not the best case, we'll drop back down, 50s, 40s. I'll just keep dollar cost average again because I know, and this is the question you have to ask yourself, if you see your portfolio down, if you're in positions and pools that you're like, oh my God, the question you have to ask yourself is, do you believe in the underlying asset? Do I believe in Bitcoin? Do I believe Bitcoin is going to be a $100,000 plus coin? 100K plus investment? The answer is yes. And I don't care about all this noise. Will I say that it's not painful at times? Like, I feel the feelings. I'm not some robot. I look at my portfolio, I'm like, oh, it's down like 60 grand this week. Cool. Bitcoin's down 60K total. Okay, cool. And then I ask myself, has anything fundamentally changed with Bitcoin? If the answer is no, I can buy more, I can hold, I can do nothing, because I know it's 100K plus. If you're holding Sol and you're in that ecosystem and your portfolio is down, you got to ask yourself, these underlying assets, do I believe in them? If the answer is yes, feel the feelings, I get it, but don't act on them. Walk away. And I promise you, and for anyone who's a little more experienced in the comments, if you've been through a few cycles, this is really normal. I've seen 40% pullbacks in bull markets on blue chip assets. This is normal. And after a while, we get used to this and we're like, oh, it's just crypto. And then we actually start seeing when there's big candles like this, that's where opportunity lies. If we look at the fear greed index, we're finally a little bit sane here. We were in deep greed for a while. Last month, extreme greed at 76. This is fairly natural. And people take profit, markets start coming back, people start selling, and now we're kind of in this neutral. I don't know if you've been through any bear markets, but sometimes you'll see extreme fear, and that's what I'm really loading up. This oscillates. This goes back and forth. Greed, fear, and in crypto, those cycles are quarterly, sometimes monthly. And so that's just a question you have to ask yourself. We're not trading here. We can't predict what's going to happen no matter how much we look at this chart. There's so much more at play than just this chart. This chart is just a historical representation of what everyone in the market is doing at any given time, but it does not dictate the future. Again, we could use it to get some ideas, but don't get too dependent on it. Use it as a tool. Black swan events happen all the time, and everyone's theory goes out the window and we just drop. What I ask myself is, are the fundamentals strong? Are they still there? And do I have conviction? If the answer is yes, then I either buy more, or I get prepared to buy more, or I do nothing. But I do not sell. That is the worst thing you can do, unless the fundamentals of some asset, some coin or token you hold have changed, and now your theory and your game plan changes, and at those times it might be time to liquidate. But in my portfolio, when I look at everything I'm in, nothing has fundamentally changed. The market is just doing what the market does. And so, Lucas, do you have a 1 month outlook? Or are you looking out 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? How is this feeding your overall wealth building journey, your overall wealth building goals? Okay, chill. I really hope to be the voice of reason. I'm seeing YouTube create a lot of crazy content right now, and I'm hoping to be the voice of reason. If you like this video, like it, subscribe, share this video with someone who might need a voice of reason. Let's keep saying, stay on the path, feel what you got to feel, but don't act on it. Don't act unless you're in some meme coin and the fundamentals changed, or some crap coin and the fundamentals of that ecosystem or of that project are changing, of course. But if you're building a well-balanced portfolio in fundamentally sound projects, nothing's changed. Again, like, subscribe, share. And with that said, I'll leave some videos. Right now is a good time for education. Double down on the education instead of watching the charts all day long. Nothing's going to change by you watching the charts. Let's get educated. Let's dive in. Let's go 100% in. With that said, I'm going to get out of here. Appreciate you. Peace.